I think it's weird that Juan is always involved with some sort of like predatory acts. Why do you run in circles with predators? What's this? This is the second time you've been associated with a known predator. What the fuck is going on? Welcome, my beautiful stones and gems. Welcome back to the Medusa Show. I am your host, Miss Mama Medusa, and I have a special guest. Do you want to take the floor?
You know, Mama Medusa, it is great to be here with you, baby. I am Dr. Zachary Kirk, also known as the Zactavist on Instagram and Zactavist on TikTok, where the platform is about activism, education. We focus on politics, people, and pop culture. So it's great to be with you, Medusa, on your show. I'm a big fan of your work. I've been following your content creation journey, and I love what you do. So it's just great to be here on this platform with you to talk about all these hot topics that are happening in the world today.
Listen, I've been trying to we've been trying to link up for a minute. So this is long overdue. But this is going to be one of many collaborations. One of many. So let's just jump into it. Let's talk about these whores. Okay.
You know what? This has been a great season of Real Housewives of Potomac. And if there was any question, I think, in the minds of people out there, that this really is Bravo's best produced franchise, I think this season has taken those doubts away. And I really hope that the people behind Atlanta, which was once my favorite franchise, will take notice and take note. Because what they're doing on Potomac needs to be emulated or imitated throughout the franchise.
Can they even emulate it? Because I feel like, honestly, ever since Nene left, I mean, you know, half them hoes ain't even married anyway. So I just feel like it's kind of done. And I mean, they had a good run. They had over 10 years. So it's time to pass the torch along to the new girls. Like,
and people need to let right. You know what? You're 100% right. Everything has its season. Real Housewives of Atlanta in its current iteration is done. It's messed up that Bravo is walking around letting these women think that they are bigger than they are. That they are more because they really do. Like they think that they're big level A-list celebrities, and in reality, the show is dead. It's a dud. It's just not. I didn't watch the last season. There was nothing about that season that appealed to me at all.
I watched it, but I mean, nothing was memorable. Nothing stood out.
But see, the key is the cast. The key is the cast.
I think that they should recast.
That's what makes Potomac magic is that they have a very balanced cast of characters. And they know how to play off each other.
That's very true. Okay, so let's just jump right on into what we came to talk about. The Potomac Girls. How do you feel about this season?
I'm loving the season. You know what? I will say this. I know that my girl Candace has, and she's my girl because I was her former teacher. I know her in real life. I know her mom, Dorothy, in real life. I know these people.
You know Mama Dorothy?
Oh yeah, I know Mama Dorothy.
Ooh. I'm not a fan. I'm sorry.
Well, but that's all. It's all TV.
Okay.
Like I mean, really, I hate to say that to reality TV fans that is all TV, but it really is all TV. In real life, you have. I mean, the truth of the matter is, you have a country girl. Mama Dorothy is from Alabama, born. Candace was born in Mississippi. And they've worked their way up. This isn't like a legacy family of money. Mama Dorothy was born into a solid family, but this isn't old established black money from.
Oh, that's how she acts. She acts like she's old money.
They're putting on a persona. What made this season, and I think Candace unfortunately was starting out to be a character. I think that Real House of Potomac, they had a character they wanted her to be. They wanted her to be young, naive, somewhat like a Portia. Beauty queen. That was how they brought her on the show in the very the third season of the show. She has evolved and broke out of that, although it took a whole lot of personal work to do it, to become who really she is. Someone who's she's very outspoken, but she's also, unfortunately, in my opinion, she's very forgiving.
Can we get to the nitty gritty? Like, can we just say it? Candace has been kissing Giselle's ass. She's been licking her
For
ass,
5 seasons, for every season, right?
and
And
it's like,
Giselle is a horrible ass to kiss because Giselle knows no loyalty. She's not going to be loyal to you.
and I don't understand why. Like, honestly, she would let Giselle son her. I remember, like, maybe it was like last season. Just Candace had made a tweet. You know, Candace is known for her tweets. She said something about that tear down of the house, that ugly ass house that she got. And Giselle, like, literally chastised Candace like a child and was like, "You who are you?" And I'm like, and like, you literally saw Candace like reduce herself and make herself small to make this woman feel large. And so now, fast forward, when when Giselle and the Green Eye Bandits, the colorist queens, are trying to create this narrative.
Right.
They're trying to create this narrative that her husband is making advances at her. It's all bullshit, and it's actually highly offensive. As someone who is a survivor of SA, like, for you to even toy with that, and like for a storyline, it reminds me of the shit that Phaedra did with Portia on Housewives of Atlanta, and that's why I don't fuck with Portia.
It's disgusting.
It's
disgusting. And that is what makes this season so phenomenal, is that for the first time in Housewives history, you see someone evolve beyond the show to break the fourth wall, to go and tell a producer, you're not going to do this to my husband. I know what you're trying to do. I don't know about the backstage meetings that you've had with Giselle, but I'm not going to let you fuck up my marriage and mess up my life for your ratings value and your storyline. I believe Candace was kissing Giselle's ass because Giselle was the queen of the show as appointed by Bravo. Not by the fan.
She was in charge.
We never liked her.
Yeah.
We've never liked Giselle.
Giselle has always been that gras on the show, at least. And so
she's the Nene of her franchise. She's the Bethany Frankel of her franchise.
I don't even feel comfortable giving her that title, but okay. All right, that's a bit much. She hasn't
earned the title.
She hasn't.
Like Nene earned her title by these amazing one-liners and this hilarious comedic response and this fighting wit that it never fails. Giselle didn't do anything but be attractive to Andy Cohen. That's it.
I think I would compare Giselle to Kenya more than I would to Nene. Like, Nene was funny. Nene was likable. Nene was memorable. Giselle hasn't said anything that was like pivotal to the culture. Like, I don't remember anything memorable that she said. Not today, ankles. Not today, neck. Yeah. Like, that's a memorable line from Candace. Like, so
there is no Giselle one-liners out there. You're right. You have Karen one-liners that are out there. People know some Karen quotes.
That stovepipe leg.
We have some Karen quotes, but we don't have any Giselle quotes. I never thought about that. And I don't think that you could really be a part of the pantheon of great Bravo celebrities if you don't have those one-liners.
At least one. Like, Giselle doesn't have, and Robin. Oh, don't even get me started. We're gonna talk about the colorism on the show in a second, but before we get to that, can we also discuss the dogpiling of Mia? Side note, Erica De Niro TV. Shout out to Erica De Niro. She's a YouTuber. She said that Mia's face looked like it was set on fire and put out with an ice pick. And I ain't been right ever since. Like, what did Mia do to her face? She's a pretty girl. Is she mixed? So you didn't see last episode, Mia had like casually mentioned how she met G when he was married, and like they had sex with each other upon meeting each other on the beach while he was married. And I just was like, oh, I mean, if you like it, I love it. Ain't no shame.
How did the girl respond to that?
She said it in her confessional, so she didn't say it like, yeah, but I just was like, oh, so we're just casually sleeping with married men in public? Like,
what?
I mean, if you don't care,
is not, you know what? Mia's like not the smartest housewife. She's definitely not the savviest of the housewives. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think Mia adds any value to the show.
I do. I think Mia
help me see it different. Like, I see no value in Mia as a cast member.
I think Mia is messy, and so that adds value because we love the mess. I also appreciate that she like you can tell that she doesn't have any friends, and so she doesn't care, like as opposed to Candace, like she's not gonna kiss Giselle's ass. Like I can appreciate that. I feel like, she does pick and choose sides, but I can also appreciate that she, she'll hold her own and she'll call bullshit when it's bullshit. So I do think that she adds some value. Robin is the one who I feel like adds nothing to the show.
Robin added value as the quintessential ride or die side chick, right? Like the B chick. Like she was ride or die to her. She was a Robin to Batman, right? She was a ride or die. Like in friendship groups, you have the two best friends that are like, you can't divide them. They're gonna always side, and where literally you can say Robin may let Giselle know on the side off camera, girl, that's fucked up, right, but she rides or die on screen. I appreciate that loyalty, but I think it adds value from that perspective, because I think that what makes a good Housewives franchise good is it shows the dynamic of relationships among women. I know a lot of people in the Black community have criticized reality TV for showing Black women a negative light. I never have necessarily agreed with that, because I don't either. It's a dynamic that's real, and it's okay to show it. What I think may show sometimes Black women a negative light is when you have people faking like they are Young Miami, people faking like they're JT, putting on a city girl accent that they've never had, and trying to emulate other celebrities when that's nowhere near who they are.
I honestly feel like this argument that, reality television depicts Black women in a negative light is a lazy argument. You don't see that. Y'all don't say that with any other demographic. These white people, mob wives, they're part of the mob. They dragging each other, throwing drinks on each other, moving tables, acting an ass. And those women are in their 60s. Y'all don't give them that critique. A lot of the stuff that they touch on are like relatable stuff. Literally, we're talking about colorism. Like, we don't talk about colorism and like other isms in other communities. Like, so miss me with that. It's not just hair pulling and women cussing each other out. That's a part of it. That's probably like 10 to 20% of it, but that's not the whole thing. That's not now if you talk about Zeus Network, okay, no, that is the negative depiction of Black people.
Zeus Network is a negative depiction of all people.
I agree.
On the network. Yeah. I haven't subscribed, but I am this close because of the clips. So here's my question.
You can use my account.
Oh, good.
Don't even waste your money.
Is there any validity? Do you feel there's any validity to these accusations being made about Chris being inappropriate? No. Not that he would cheat, because I know Chris is a human, and I mean, now he loves his wife. But do you think that it's inappropriate for a husband to have some of the communication he's had with these housewives? No. Can your man be friends with other women?
Yes. I'm not insecure. Like, I'm not, granted, I will say this, and this is Candace's fault, because I don't know if you remember, because last season, I believe it was at the reunion, Candace is the one that mentioned that. I think somebody asked, like, who are y'all, like, which housewife are you most attracted to, or something like that. I remember Ray said Katie, and then like some of the husbands didn't answer.
Yeah, several seasons ago.
Candace, I thought it was last season, but either way, Candace said Giselle. Candace said Chris likes Giselle. I don't know why you would offer up that information.
It was 3 seasons. Let me tell you why I know it's because I love Katie. Katie was my favorite housewife because she was a little bit unhinged. And so I loved, she was a humor. She was a comedic effect. She made that show in those beginning seasons watchable because she didn't care. She let anything come out that mouth. And so, so I've been waiting for her to come back, but I don't think she'll be back. I think I recently saw that Katie may have been institutionalized for a period of time to help her address the mental health issues.
I heard that the reason why she wasn't on last reunion or the reunion before was because she was about to spill some tea about Michael. I guess she was like somewhat of a liability because of her mental state, and so she was spilling tea.
So here's the thing: are they going to constantly? Why do they protect Michael Darby with all they've got? What is he financing this show?
Come on,
I've never seen anything like that. It's a full court press to always protect Michael Darby, and they will throw they will allow the public to destroy Pastor Jamal Bryant. they will allow them to destroy Juan Dixon. Now you're trying to destroy Chris Bissett, but you are always you try to destroy Ray over taxes, but you're going to constantly protect Michael
predator,
Darby.
a predator, and I'm not gonna say alleged, a predator. According to the Medusa show, that man is a predator. That man is on camera touching men on multiple occasions without their consent. I don't know what you categorize that as, and like I hated the way they went about it. It was like I don't know. I thought that was just so. I mean, can we? And then honestly, I think that Juan and Michael have something. I don't know. I think they have some sort of bromance or something. I think it's weird that Juan is always involved with some sort of like predatory acts. Why do you run in circles with predators? What's this? This is the second time you've been associated with a known predator. What the fuck is going on?
What have you seen? What is that? There's a new allegation. Did you read the new allegation? What is?
Yes.
I haven't read it. What is a new allegation? I've been so consumed with the midterms.
So allegedly, we have to say allegedly, Juan Dixon is the head coach at Coppin State basketball team, and apparently his assistant coach has been like sexually harassing, SAing and harassing members on the team or a member on the team. Yes, another boy. Yes, honey. And sending him pictures and all this other shit. And Juan was fully aware of it, allegedly, and didn't do anything about it. Didn't like you are the head coach. He didn't step in. And I believe it. I believe every allegation. These are all allegations, but I believe every because it's the same shit with Juan. I mean, so this is the same shit with Michael. Michael was being accused of doing shit, and you stood by his side. That's why I don't fuck with Monique Samuels either. You guys hid. Anyways, I'm jumping all around the place, but yeah.
But
so,
no, you're right. You tell this is all fact. You tell the truth.
I don't
I didn't know that about. That is heartbreaking.
Yeah. So I haven't even gotten to the mess. The gag is that apparently when it got brought to his attention and they were like, hey, your assistant coach is out here making people uncomfortable and whoop de whoop de whoop. He says, well, yeah, I knew he had some mental insecurities, but da, da, da. So he tried to like separate himself and like place blame on the coach and it's on the assistant coach, and it's like, wait, hold on. So you knew that this young man displayed these characteristics and you still employed him and you still had him around other young men? Arf? Like, what's going on?
And that's really sad because, one thing I've learned in my life as an educator is that when a baby is in high school, there's so much support. Like from birth until 12th grade, you have a lot of support. You have a family there. Especially in the Black community, we're throwing our children out as soon as they graduate high school, saying make it in the world. They go off to college and go into young adulthood, and there's a level of support that is no longer there. So you're growing, you're developing, you're trying to learn and succeed in this world, but you don't have a lot of guidance. I can only imagine the mental pressure that an athlete was facing when their coach tried to proposition them in inappropriate ways.
The assistant coach, but yeah, the assistant.
Well, it's a coach. I mean, I think like as a former athlete, you don't really see them as head coach, assistant coach. This is just my coach,
right?
This is the adult,
the authority
who is trying to help my performance. If I'm a collegiate level athlete, I may be fighting and working because really, if you go to play college level sports, you're in that for what will come next. Because it usually, 80% of folks that don't make it, they cut out of high school. Right. So only the elite 20% make it to play at any level of the collegiate level. And you're probably trying to be competitive to, if not play in the United States, to play ball overseas. And you're doing whatever you can to set yourself apart from the other athletes and to get all the playing time and gain the favor. And I can only imagine the mental state that probably put on that kid. And I know that one is as old as he is. He damn knew better. And that's unfortunate.
I mean, I'm trying to give him a little bit of grace because it's like, it's one of those situations where it's like, he didn't do it, but you knew what was happening and you didn't take the necessary precautions to stop it. And it's like, why? And to me, it speaks volumes. Do you just not care? Do you think that I get it. It's a sticky situation. Nobody will want to be in it. But again, this is the second time that you have been involved with someone who has done something like that. So I'm getting...
You know what though, and I now you make me think about it. It's a little bit of a different way. with the Ohio senator. I forget his name, the one who was a wrestling coach
Mhm.
who had the same type of allegations and he got off scot free. More than likely, one probably will not face the consequences that perhaps he should or could. But that doesn't mean that we, in the court of public opinion, and fans of the show don't demand that some type of action be taken.
Yeah,
Tell me you
I don't know. I think I don't something about you employing someone who you knew had like some potential, displayed erratic. He literally described him as like mentally ill and blah 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 blah. And it's just like, okay, and you still had him around these kids, these young boys.
So I think you bring up a good point.
It's a very delicate situation, but that was that.
What do you think about Karen? What are your thoughts on Karen as a cast member?
I like Karen. I like her. She's starting to I did not like her season one. It's something about her though that I don't like though. It's something about her that I can't get with. I don't know if this be I don't know what I don't like the way she's treating Sharice this season. I don't know what her problem is. And I
She's
feel like
why they fell out years ago? Wasn't they fall out a long time ago?
well
It was about Sharice knew something about Ray, right? No, Sharice made accusations about her cheating on Ray, right? Back in the
she
day.
insinuated that they had that she be dipping out on Ray, but now in this most recent episode, Candace kind of confirmed that that's what the tea is that Karen B. I think that Ray, and I talked about it in my reviews. I think that Karen and Ray have an open relationship. They're almost 15 years apart. He's not. He ain't blowing her back out like that. Come on. So
Right. Yeah, they're how many years apart?
14 years.
So yeah, Karen is approaching 60.
Yeah.
And so that
And
means
he's
Ray is approaching 75.
80. 80. Okay. So yeah. So
It don't work forever.
right.
So I mean,
So yeah, that was that. Do you think that Karen is a colorist?
I think you know what, Medusa, I think that I don't think that you're gonna find many black people over the age of 50 who are not colorists. Now I'm not gonna even lie and say that that's not the case.
I agree.
And and it goes multiple ways. It's a really a deep issue. My great grandmother, and I've gone through a lot of family trials with losing family members recently, and so I go back to my great grandmother, who was she was one of 8 children. She was the darkest. Her and she had a brother, Ned, Uncle Ned. I never met him. He passed before I was born, but she would always talk about he was her best friend. The two of them were dark. Her mom was half black and half white. Her father was a full Choctaw Indian. And she looked like she was the only one who really looked Choctaw, indigenous, and she was dark. So she couldn't pass as a Choctaw. And so she had this really unique look. And it was so impactful to her and how she was mistreated by all of her siblings and her mother. And then she had to take care of her mother in old age. And it was like, this was you have to, because you're the dark one. It was really bad. But she taught us these lessons. And then, my mom came out the exact opposite, being exceptionally light. She had green eyes and red hair. And again, she had a whole nother kind of struggle where she was always, I watched people call her, you white B, with your white A. And it had an impact on her. Right. And I just think to myself, these issues in the black community should never have been issues in the first damn place. I also witnessed my mom benefit from light skin privilege and how white people respond to her compared to how they responded to my aunt, who was my complexion, maybe a couple shades darker. So with that being said, yeah, I don't think you're gonna find anyone over the age of 50 in the black community that's not a colorist if they're light skinned. I hate to say it, but they were raised that way.
I agree.
A level of deconstruction that they did not have unless they had a great grandmother like mine. Like Viola Watkins, she was happy. She died when I was 23. She lived a long life. She had these conversations with us about not just black and white people, but about dark skinned people, light skinned people, how it was, how she was treated, how you gotta treat everybody right, no matter what they look like, no matter who they are, no matter how even they act. You always have to give people the benefit of the doubt, and you got to treat them like Jesus. That's what she was saying.
Right.
Treat them like the Jesus. You treat them like the King, and
Right.
it's stuck with me. So yeah, I do. I hate to tell you, girl, Karen's a colorist. Now, is
She,
she as much of a colorist as Giselle? I don't
yeah.
know if that's the case. I think she's done her work.
I mean, Karen gives me a bigoted vibe. I think that she's a bigot. Doctor, the Black Bill Gates, the
Yep,
Grand Dame. It's like, what qualifies you to be that girl, the Grand Dame? Because you old and light skinned? Because that's really the only thing that you really. I mean, what? Like, you come from a small podunk town in Bubblefuck, Virginia. Like, girl, don't nobody know you like that. You ain't
and we
making
saw
it.
how basic that was when
Come
Karen went on
on.
her Karen Huger goes home tour.
Come on. If anything, Sharice and Robin has said that Sharice is that girl. Sharice is like, and I believe it.
Yeah,
So, and I think that that's why she's intimidated. Now, I don't know if she's intimidated by Sharice because she's dark skinned or like, darker than she is. I know that, on Wendy's first season, she flat out said she's not impressed by Wendy. And I just was like, who the fuck are you to say that she, like,
that's
excuse
when I
me?
that's when I really stopped liking Karen.
I was like, "What do you mean you're not impressed? The woman has 4 degrees. She's a highly educated black woman, self sufficient, dark skinned, Nigerian. Come through with that representation. What's there not to be impressed by?" So I don't know. I don't know about Karen. How do we feel about Wendy?
I love
Wendy,
Wendy.
Wendy don't add much to the show.
Wendy is a little throw. Y'all just don't know it. I can tell. I know I'm Zach the Zodiac, so I know how them Geminis are. Wendy a little throw, but I love her on the show because she is accomplished and she's confident and she is Nigerian. I
Right.
want to see more of that diversity on these shows, and
I
and
agree.
and that getting a glimpse into her culture, into her family, into this dynamic family life, that has been to me makes her a valuable asset to the show. Why is Sharice not on this show? She was one of my favorite characters back in the day as well.
I don't know why she's not on the show. It doesn't.
And
I'm
she
maybe.
is that girl. People in DC, in the DC area, of all these women, Sharice is the one they were buzzing and talking about when the show first began. Because I remember way back then, they
Mhm.
were talking about this show, and Sharice was the one that everyone knew. She was a socialite, the woman about town, the woman with some influence, some power, and some pull. It was always Sharice.
The girls cannot take Sharice. You saw Monique couldn't take her.
And that's why we need her on the show. We need that back. We need that type of power. We need her back on the show.
I don't. But
I think that she left the show before the show became what it was meant to be, and we're missing that and what she could bring to this show if she was a regular cast member.
well, I think she also left because she was going through her divorce, and like she didn't want to be, it didn't want to be vulnerable and transparent about what the fuck was going on because we could
And then
clearly
she'll be
see
on
on,
TV.
yeah, we could clearly see on season 1 that man didn't want her. I'm sorry. He was treating her like, I mean, he wasn't showing. We never seen her husband on the show, not once. So we already knew what the tea
I
was.
need to go back and watch that. I think I wasn't because I wasn't in tune to who they were. I was learning who they were, but now that knowing who they are, I need to go back and give that another look.
Yeah, I didn't like Sharice on the first
Did you
season.
watch the show in real time, or did you watch it over like you binged it at one
You
time?
know, I'm from the area, so of
Yeah,
course, like I've been watching it since day one, like in real time.
yeah,
Went and binge watched it. I've been a huge fan. So now that it's blown up and not like it blew up after the fight, but some of us day ones, we've
yeah.
been watching prior to the fight.
Yes. So yeah, the fight. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I agree. Because
did you
again,
want
if you
to?
saw the fight, you didn't even know you missed the best episodes because Katie wasn't in that season.
Right. Did you want to move on to Married to Medicine?
No,
Because
we
that.
can ask. So give me the rundown. Because Married to Medicine is like
So you
I,
haven't been
I think
watching
that
at all?
not this season. And let
Okay.
me tell you why. I do believe firmly that Married to Medicine is one of the best franchises on Bravo. But
It is.
Bravo gives them a shitty shake every time. They
I
give them
don't,
a crappy time slot, a crappy rollout. They don't give them PR. They don't give them the right promos. Kind of like we'll just throw it out there for the dedicated fans, not realizing the quality of the show. So I watched a couple episodes and I just feel like it's so poorly put together. It's like they throw it together. They don't give it the care they give to some of the other shows. And I
why?
don't understand
Why
that because
is
you got that
that?
damn Summer House and all this bullshit that nobody will ever watch.
But why is that? Like, why do they treat Married to Medicine like the second, like the redheaded stepchild of
I have no
Bravo?
I
Why
have
do
no
they do
clue. It's
that?
a good show. So what happened? I am gonna go back and watch the reunion. So what is because I'm seeing all this talk about Heavenly and all this talk about Toya and Quad. What is going and this other housewife, the new lady? What's going on?
Well, ain't shit going on with the new housewife. I don't even know her. I don't
She made some
acknowledge.
accusations against Toya, right?
Yes, she's this Indian woman she's really white. Some Carlos King said that he feels like Anila, that's her name. He feels like she's here for an affirmative action, and I believe it.
Okay,
Um,
so she doesn't fit in on the show.
at all. Like she's hella displaced. She's Indian, and so it's nice to see Indian culture and see that aspect of it. But it's like it just doesn't mesh well with these black Southern women, especially these like astute Southern women who are highly educated. She's not that.
I
She's
did see the clip of. I think she was saying she and her husband do a certain sex
vlogging.
act. Whereas she asked the women there, like, "Do you guys do that?" They were like, "No."
Wait, they did what?
It was something they were doing, like a game or something. It was a clip. They were like, I guess, having like a drinking game or some kind of game. And she said that she and her husband enjoy a certain type of. They enjoy anal sex.
Oh,
And
okay.
the women were like, "No, we don't do that."
Oh, I didn't
No.
see that. I
Which I'm
must
like, which is the most southern demure thing. Like that is black women right there. Ain't no. If they do, you ain't gonna know ever.
Right. Right. Even if they did it, they wouldn't say, "Oh my
No.
God, we can
In
talk
a
about
whole
that."
circle of absolutely not. So
Right.
I saw that clip and I was like, maybe the show was good, but then
It's just a cultural. I think they need to bring back Mariah. I don't know why they won't do it. What they need to bring back Mariah. Mariah's husband was Indian. If you want to have an Indian aspect, if you want to do a show a different aspect of culture, should bring back Mariah. She was a
the
black woman
show
that was
was
married to an
magic
Indian.
when Mariah was on the show.
I
And does
love Mariah.
Quad even have a point without Mariah? If there is no
No,
Mariah, is there a point in having a Quad?
no, that's very true. Quad needs Mariah just as much as Mariah needs Quad.
Right.
Their whole storyline is built on the conflict between them. Let's talk about it. Quad ain't doing shit, but acting like a drag queen and doing monologues. Quad was not likable this season. She was
Mm.
not. She was
But
not
has
likable.
Quad been likable since Mariah left the show? Like the last times that I focused on that show, Quad was extremely forgettable. Ever since her divorce, she had no value added.
It's true.
Heavenly Heavenly and Quad bring the same quality to the show. They're the same type of antagonists. However, Heavenly dominates and domineers the villain role so well on that show that Quad has no place.
And it's to the point, but Heavenly can't, and that's why we need Mariah back because Heavenly can't do it all on her own. Like
Where
Heavenly,
Mariah will give you a balance to a Heavenly, and the two of them would be the constant source of the fight. They will be the nucleus that everybody else will revolve around because the other women on that show aren't strong enough to be a nucleus.
but let's be clear, Quad is needed. Like she's needed because those other bitches are boring. Dr. Jackie is boring as fuck. I don't understand why she did not bring anything memorable to the show. She hasn't had nothing memorable since her husband cheated on her. I do not like Dr. Jackie. I'm sorry. I think she's a bigot. I think she's boring. I don't like her. Like I'm sure
What
she
do you think
does.
she's a bigot or like? What do you mean? What like bigot towards
She's a
who?
bigot. She's a
An
bigot.
elitist.
She's a bigot.
Yeah,
She's a
she's an
leader.
elitist.
Yes. I will never forget a couple seasons back in the beginning when she started chastising. There's like a big girl had like won like a big girl competition, like
Yeah,
a
an elitist.
pageant. And she just started like talking about her diabetes and her high cholesterol. You're not her doctor. You don't have access to her medical records. You can't just assume that because she's large that she's unhealthy. That's so ignorant. That's so outdated. You call yourself an educator. You call yourself a doctor. Get out of here. And
I'm telling you, I swear to God, Medusa, you're saying so many things. You constantly keep taking me back to my mom because Dr. Jackie's from Mississippi, like I'm from. I know that if you're from Mississippi and you're black, you were born poor. You were not even black people in Mississippi who have money don't have money.
come
Okay,
on.
so she was born. She knows some struggle. She's made it to a certain place in life that she thinks that she can look down on people. That's why I'm so glad that my mama raised me right to always treat everybody right. And the fact that she does, she's judging. She's judging people, and that's what you see. It's an elitism, and I think that's what makes people not like her. I'm not a big Jackie fan either.
I thought people loved her. People ate her up. People love Dr. Jackie, from what I understand.
You know who I love on that show?
Who?
I'm that weirdo, always the weirdo in terms of like who I like, and I really look at these people. I know. I like Toya. I like Toya a lot. I do. Let me tell you why I like Toya. I like Toya because Toya is growing in front of our eyes and she's being vulnerable. It's just my heart, I think, for young people. I don't know how old Toya is, but
Toya's 44.
But just because you're 44 doesn't mean that life gave you the opportunity to mature in the way that you should have. And you see her growing up. You know that Toya probably grew up in a situations where she had to make it and survive. And now she's at a place in adulthood where she's no longer in a survival mentality and she can actually grow. She can actually thrive. And she's learning before our eyes on this show.
You want me? Can I tell you what I don't like about Toya?
Tell me what you don't like. Because but I like that. I love the struggle. I love people who grow. But tell me why you don't like Toya.
I don't like that Toya emasculates her husband on national television. I don't like that, and it's hard for me to take Eugene seriously. It's to the point where now I'm struggling to respect Eugene at this point. Eugina is what the girls is calling him. I'm sorry. I can't. When ever since she told that man to shut up and put that biscuit back in your mouth, you better shut up and put that biscuit back in your mouth. I was done. I was
like, but Medusa, here's the thing. Let's be fair. That's the dynamic of that relationship, and I think it's okay.
What? No. I don't think it's ever okay to disrespect your husband or your spouse.
May very well be. Now, here's the reality. The simple way of saying it is, and I'm going to go into the breakdown of psychology, right? But the simple thing could be that if Eugene like it, I love it. Now, the deeper psychology is, now you learned this season what's going on down there. I saw that too. Eugene isn't bringing a lot to the table in certain ways.
Sexually? Are we talking about his sexual performance?
He's not what he works with in that area. That was also a clip that came out this season about something they were talking about in making jokes about it. Mm-hmm. That may be a part of Eugene. Eugene may enjoy being dominated. Eugene may enjoy being degraded. He may sexually enjoy that.
He doesn't.
It's called a degradation kick. It's a real thing in the world.
And I'm gonna tell you why I know he doesn't, because you didn't watch this season. You didn't watch it.
I didn't. Was he sad?
Oh my God, this man was on the verge of tears. He does not like it. He doesn't enjoy it, and that's why he came at Quad sideways. I don't know. Did you see the clips of him hollering at Quad? What you got against us? He literally was almost in tears because Quad. Yeah, it was bad. According to him and Quad,
that grown ass man was gonna cry. It was because of some women.
His voice was shaking. His voice was shaking. His voice was elevated. He was getting really upset with Quad. It's misplaced anger. Like, it
was anger that he should have been directed at Toya.
Thank you. So okay. I don't think that I'm not even trying to be funny. He's like, I really don't think he likes that shit. I really don't. Okay. And no man would.
I didn't watch this season. I am going to deep dive over the Thanksgiving holiday and enjoy it and really go through the season to understand deeper.
Let's just go down the line. Let's just go person per person. So we know, how I feel about Dr. Jackie. She could be demoted. I love Dr. Simone. Love her to death. She's kind of boring, but at least she's a little likable. It's nice to see. Yeah, and it's nice to see her dynamic with her husband.
And the kids.
Yeah, it's nice. Dr. Heavenly, I love Dr. Heavenly. I can't. No, we don't like Dr. Heavenly.
No, I think Dr. Heavenly is great for TV. I'm not the kind of person who, as a human being, she's not such a hard. She's not so hot. But I understand the value and I appreciate the value she brings to the show. Same with Lisa Barlow on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. She's a villain. She's not a great gal, but she brings a lot to the show for the value of having good TV.
So yeah, we love Dr. Heavenly.
I mean, I do thoroughly. Of every housewife in existence, I hate Lisa Rinna the most. But I do understand that you've got to have that villain to have a good show.
Rinna, really?
I hate her. She's a racist.
Oh, okay. Well, then that makes sense. I
You
wouldn't.
can't. I'm never going to support someone who dressed up in a Nazi uniform. You didn't know that? Google
No,
her. Google
I
Lisa
didn't.
Rinna, Harry Hamlin, Nazi, and you will see them. They dressed up back in the day for Halloween as Nazis,
Oh no, fuck
real
that.
Nazis.
I don't like the girl from Salt Lake City, the little Asian one that be wearing cornrows. The
She's
one that
off the show now. She got fired.
not Jenny.
Oh,
The
they have a
one
new one?
the one that got arrested for like fraud.
Oh yeah, Jen Shaw.
I don't like her.
No, no, me either.
She's a racist. So back to Married to Medicine. Okay, so
And
Toya,
what about Contessa?
fuck Contessa. I don't like
Why? Why?
Contessa. Contessa is a bigot too. Anila invited the girls, the cast, to like an Indian festivity or something at her house. It was like something celebrating her Indian culture, right? So
Mhm.
everyone was dressed up in saris and traditional Indian attire. Do you know that Contessa came in there wearing an Egyptian costume from Party City? Like it's not funny. I thought that was so
Oh God.
disrespectful. And this
It
is
couldn't have, I know she didn't come. It wasn't from Party City. Now I know it wasn't from Party.
from Party City from Amazon. Like it was an Egyptian costume, and it was just like it's like this is a celebration of
That's
someone's
very
culture.
disrespectful to the
So
culture.
disrespectful. And so I'm like, oh, she's a fucking. I'm like, yeah, she's a bigot too. She's also one of those people. I don't like Contessa. I do not like her. I used to like her a little bit, but I don't care for her. And honestly, she can go. She can go. Like, I mean, if you want to bring her back, that's fine. But
I think that Contessa's on the wrong show. I think she has a lot of potential, but I don't think that there's a match on this cast for her. Even when they first brought her in, I haven't seen her this season, but when they first brought her in on the show, I'm like, she doesn't fit.
I think that Quad is on the wrong show. I think that
Where should Quad be?
Housewives of Atlanta.
I agree.
Housewives of Atlanta.
Quad needs to move over to that cast. It's much more fitting of a socialite type cast as opposed to a women with substance type cast.
Well, not only that, you're not married to medicine, and so it's not a and honestly, after this reunion with Eugene yelling at her like that, like unfortunately he feels comfortable and empowered to do that because she doesn't have a husband, because she doesn't have a man behind her. All of the other castmates do. So and you know, you're a single woman going on couples trips. It's just you look displaced.
Yeah, it doesn't fit. Right.
I don't think she should be on the show anymore. And like, you don't like those women anyway. You're not friends with them. I would love to see her and Kenya go at it. I would love to see that.
Yeah, I want to. You know, they need to bring Quad. I agree. Put her on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. It would help that show altogether.
It would.
Or, know, should they cancel the Real House? Should they cancel Married to Medicine?
No,
unless they can bring Mariah back. I just don't see the point.
I don't think they should cancel it, but I think they should cancel Housewives of Atlanta before Married to Medicine. But
if they don't get the cast right, I'm
still invested in Married to Medicine.
I gotta watch it. I'm gonna watch it over Thanksgiving and give you my rundown. I'm gonna give you my rundown.
Please.
So I love you, my friend.
I love you too. Thank you so much for joining me.
We got to schedule part 2. So let me get caught up and then.
Hold on. Okay, we back.
Okay. Married to Medicine has included the third part, right?
No, it's Married to Medicine is done. But we can come back.
Get caught up and then we'll have to go. We'll catch up. We'll revisit next week.
Okay, bet. All right, bet. Let's do this. Let's do this next Friday.
Sounds good. All right, my love.
I love you so much. I'll talk to you soon. All right, girl. Bye.
I
will. Bye, y'all.
Bye.